So you want to move like this, but you simply don't know where to start. Well, don't worry, because I have the best and easiest to understand movement guide out there. We're going to start with the absolute basics and work our way up slowly with a step-by-step guide where I can help you learn this. I have made a movement guide in the past, however, I do think I can explain things much better and make this easy to understand for even a beginner. To help you with that, I'll have a controller cam and I'll also put the inputs up on the screen. I'll also be showing clips of each movement tech so you can learn to integrate it into your gameplay. With all that out of the way, let's get right into it. So just like in my last movement tutorial, there are two specific settings that are going to help you a ton. One being, of course, auto sprint right here. Make sure that is on. It's going to make movement much easier. You're going to be able to get to your maximum velocity much faster. The second is holds to crouch. It may feel really weird, but at the end of the day, it's going to help you with things like bunny hops and more advanced movement techs when we get later into the guide. But just like all settings, these two are definitely up to preference. Now, with those two settings out of the way, let's get into the first movement tech that's going to be the building block of everything else in this video. And that is the simple slide jump. To perform the slide jump, all you have to do is sprint, wait a little bit, press your slide, and then jump. The timing for this is extremely crucial, and even some of the biggest names like Faide still complain about dead sliding often. So spend some time in the range learning how to get this done. The next movement tech that also uses the slide jump is the bunny hop. The bunny hop is an extremely helpful movement tech when it comes to getting around corners, fighting teams, or even just healing. To perform the bunny hop, simply slide jump and then continuously jump while hitting crouch. This is where being on hold to crouch definitely helps. Once you get the timing down, you're going to be using this movement tech extremely often. And just a quick tip, any kind of speed boost will allow you to keep the momentum even through healing. Alright, so our next movement tech will be the... Why are you here? That's right, Faide Slide. This is our second to last slide mechanic, and it is extremely helpful, and personally plays a huge role in my gameplay. To perform it, all you have to do is crouch while being holstered, start sprinting while in that crouch. Once you do that, do the following simultaneously. Uncrouch while continuing to sprint, and then do a quick slide jump. It's going to look something like this. This movement tech will allow you to peek in and out of cover really fast while minimizing the amount of damage that you take. And then our last slide mechanic is going to be a very niche one, but I still want to throw it in there. This is called the skip jump. The skip jump is a movement tech that is extremely hard to get down, but once you do get it consistently, it's going to be very helpful. Depending on what kind of setup you have, the skip jump is either going to be extremely easy or extremely difficult. Pretty much what that means is that it's dependent on your frames and input delay. To learn the skip jump, all you have to do is get in the range and fail slide jumps over and over again. Fail slide jumps, not late like this, but instead fail them extremely fast like that. Unfortunately, I can't actually say the timing of the inputs because, again, it varies from setup to setup. If you are on PC, then I definitely do recommend using R5 Reloaded. Movementless and Treery both use R5 Reloaded to get extremely consistent with skip jumps. So again, I do apologize. It is one of those movement techs that is just obscure enough that it's kind of difficult for one to explain it. It's more just like a gut feeling that you have to build over time. But again, the simple explanation is a failed early slide jump. Here's what it looks like if it's done correctly. We now move on to the wall mechanics. This is also when I'm going to start showing in-game clips so you know how to implement it into your game. So to start things out, the building block of all wall mechanics, the simple wall bounce. A successful wall bounce looks like this. This tech alone is going to open the doorway to so many combinations. It's probably going to be one of your most used movement techs in the game. So to complete it, all you have to do is sprint, slide jump, jump into the wall, and once you're in the contact right here, jump right here. Just like that. So in short, sprint, slide jump, connect, jump off. Trust me, you want to practice this and get it mastered because it's going to open up so many different possibilities in the future. And then a little tip for wall bounces. Many new players may find it extremely difficult to wall bounce off of small objects such as this one. You may find yourself mantling it instead, just like this. To fix this, all you need to do is point your stick on impact in the direction that you want to go. So just like this. With enough practice, you shouldn't fail another wall bounce ever again. And here's a clip how you should actually use it against enemies. So as you see in this clip, wall bounces can be used to jump over enemies and overall just surprise them. So our first variation of the wall bounce is the fatigue. It's essentially a wall bounce with little to no starting momentum. So what that means is that you don't have to do a slide jump to get the height. This is really helpful when there's an enemy behind your wall and you can just jump up and get the jump on them. To explain the fatigue bounce, I'll first have to explain what a fatigue is. A fatigue is when you jump up and you get this height and then all of the jumps after that immediately that are tiny. These are fatigue bounces. Use these bounces to chain it with eventually a fatigue bounce. Just start jumping around like this, get used to the feeling of this height, and then once you're ready, strafe into the wall after a fatigue bounce, and then do the same thing as the last two steps in the wall bounce. Here's a clip of how to use the fatigue bounce in game. And then our third wall tech is actually going to be the wall run. The wall run is extremely helpful when it comes to getting more distance on a wall jump. To complete this, you'll have to do the following. First, find a flat wall. Right here should work. Sprint the wall at about a 45-degree angle, just like this. Then what you're going to want to do is slide jump into the wall, turn your camera the opposite way that you want to go, continue to move your stick in the way that you do want to go, so your two sticks are opposing each other, and then just glide on the wall. So altogether, it should look something like this. Now you can chain this with a tap strafe to get like a nice 180 wall run, which looks really, really cool. Just like that. Gets you a lot of height, a lot of speed. Here's a clip of one of the best movement players out there, Kuro, utilizing it on Octane. Alright, with that, we are now officially onto our ziplines. Another reason that I didn't mention about recreating my movement guide is the fact that with this new firing range update, it's much easier now than it was before to get good at movement. Everything and anything about ziplines, we're going to be doing it right here in this shaft because this is the perfect place for you to practice everything. To start us off, the simple double bounce. This is a interact jump, all really fast. One tip that I could give you is that instead of thinking about it as two separate inputs, just think of it all as one. The interact and jump as all just one big button. Try to hit it all as fast as possible, just like this. Once you get good enough, you can start chaining this with tap strafes, or if you're on console, just strafe back into the zipline. The super jump will be the one thing that you want to learn immediately because it's going to be the building blocks for every other movement tech on the ziplines. Alright, I'm not going to waste any of your time because at the end of the day, ziplines is really all about just combining separate things, and the super jump is the main thing. So if you want to learn how to zipline dance, just like move around like Faide and all those other players, you really just have to get in the range or get in games and do it yourself. But I still will be teaching you guys the Mantle-Jump. The Mantle-Jump is a way to get a super jump out of a zipline without having to actually hit ground first. The reason why that's so special is because typically you have to be standing on solid ground before you can super jump. Otherwise, it's just going to look like this. So to complete the Mantle-Jump, what you're going to have to do is go up the zipline, jump off in this little mantle animation that you see right here, where your legend kind of just like bumps up. Right there, you're going to want to walk backwards. Start walking backwards. At the same time, start moving your stick down ever so slightly. All of this while holding X. Holding X is hands down the #1 tip that I can give to anybody that wants to learn mantle jumps. It makes it 1,000 times easier for me personally and many other players I've told. After all of that, it should look like this. The next step is the actual super jump. Now that you're on the zipline, interact with the mantle reset, all you have to do is double tap your jump. But all together, it looks something like this. This can also be paired with tap strafing to get around corners just like that. But overall, when you're trying to learn zips, learning the basics like super jumps and mantle jumps are really all you're going to need. After that, it's just going to take time and practice to get used to the movement and playing around them. This next one will probably be the most lengthy one because it's going to be the Superglide. I'm going to explain all the different factors, including legend abilities that go into it. Alright, and now for the Superglide, find any spot on the firing range that you can mantle, like a box or just a ledge like this. To actually complete the Superglide, all you're going to have to do is sprint into a mantle, and then at the very top of this mantle, right here, right there, right at that moment, right there, you're going to hit jump and crouch at the same time. It's not actually technically at the same time. They're like delayed by like a few milliseconds. But if you just practice going at the same time, you're going to learn it. Mantle, jump, crouch. Now, if you want to, especially if you're on console and you don't have the ability to tap strafe, you can always do a sideways input instead of pressing forward at the very top, and you'll go flying to the side just like this. This is pretty much the closest you can get to tap strafing on console. So if you learn this, just abuse it pretty much. As for specific legends, any kind of speed boost like Bangler's passive, Octane stim, Maggie's ultimate, Wraith's portal, literally anything you can think of, any kind of speed boost on a Superglide is going to allow you to get more distance and just overall make it much faster. Just like this. And then for all my console demons out there, if you play Horizon, you can essentially get what looks like a tap strafe with their passive, simply by doing a sideways Superglide into a backward strafe. That was absolutely zero tap strafe, and yeah, I was able to get all the way backwards. Alright, that is it for today's movement guide. Again, I did not intend for this to be a crazy advanced movement guide. At the end of the day, I did want it to be as easy to understand. It's just the building blocks for everything that you need to know to become a movement god. If you guys want a more advanced movement guide with things like fall stun cancels, emote slides, and ghost inputs, then please do let me know in the comments down below. This is really supposed to be a 101 on movement to get you started. But again, if you guys want anything more advanced, then just let me know in the comments. If you have any questions whatsoever, also let me know in the comments, or preferably asking on my Twitch, where I can give you a live explanation and maybe even demonstration as well. I'm excited to bring you guys more content in the new year, so look forward to that. And yeah, hope you guys have a great day. Peace.